Hi, welcome to the video series covering the features of the toolbox called HyperWorks Lift Ship. In this video, I will be specifically covering the element checks, validations, kind of last steps that you'll need to do before you set up any of your load cases. So let's go ahead and look at our training models that we have here. Either you're kind of following along from the original model, or feel free to kind of just drag and drop these staged models, kind of focusing on learning those techniques for the given video. So I'm going to open up the pad eyes turn placed. We might have to redo the contacts. This takes a couple moments, but the final mesh really is has everything ready before we do any model setup and analysis. So again, let's go ahead and pull in number 5, the pad eyes turn place. Just drag that into the interface, and here, let's see here, kind of clean up our browser. And I want to focus on element quality and maybe some type of interrogation. Let's go ahead and switch over our view from automatic to element quality. And this is not going to be an exhaustive video on all the different features that HyperWorks has for cleaning up mesh quality. A lot of that's already covered. It's kind of our base community videos, YouTube how-to videos, those types of resources, mesh elements. Those would be your two areas. Really kind of dive into that. I want to maybe address a workflow that would help 90% of the cases with cleaning up your mesh quality. Obviously, you've already kind of went through a variety of steps with your batch meshing with the parameter criteria files. That's already leaps ahead of getting you a good quality mesh. And then you've added your pad eyes, your supporting structure, and in each of these stages you've also had a mesh rebuilding. So you're kind of progressively making sure that the quality is pretty good. But obviously at the end, I think this model is about a little over 200,000 elements. You might still have a few here or there that you need to clean up. So just kind of a friendly reminder to load your param and your criteria file, which is provided in the build for lift ship, and just go ahead and load those in here. And once you activate the element quality view, it will automatically pull those criteria and display them here. And you can see we have one aspect ratio failing. We got some minimum angle trias and so forth. So as long as we clean this up, our solver OptiStruct will be happy. So again, if I right click, you can show failed. Otherwise, it's just kind of a nice little contour. And let's see here, show failed. And overall, it's pretty darn good. But let's go ahead and focus on the trias. So usually how I approach this mesh cleanup is I'll focus on the ones with the higher count. So here we have skew. And you can see these kind of little itty bitty slivers throughout the model. So I'm going to switch my selector over to elements. And go ahead and say select. And let's see here, displayed. You see it pulls those 10. And then what I'm going to do is just hit J on the keyboard, maybe 3 times. And you can see that the entities have grown from 10 to 591. That's because I'm grabbing attached elements by hitting J. So I'm going to go ahead and click out of the view. My elements are still selected, so go ahead and right click and say isolate. And now you can see my sections have been isolated. So I don't know, maybe zoom in here a little bit and we can kind of see, let me reset my view here. We can kind of see that maybe there's some quality issues here at the tips. So what I'll do is, I don't really want to go in here and manually do this. I will end up using my mesh rebuild, which is why it's included in this workflow. Again, it has my parameter criteria files loaded, and simply just need to right click, select displayed, and click rebuild. Alright, so with that, you can see the skew got cleaned up, the minimum angle got cleaned up, our aspect and warpage. So obviously that doesn't work in 100% of the cases, but I wanted to definitely kind of enlighten everyone to this kind of really convenient workflow to isolate failing elements to just quickly rebuild them and then recheck the quality. And that's kind of the general process. Load your param criteria, and then filter by the greatest number of a failing, repair those, and kind of rinse and repeat a little bit. So that should be helpful for most cases. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring our model back. Now that we have, looks like we have a couple more failing elements. Let's go ahead and go through that process. Let's focus on the elements and click E, and we'll get Control A. We'll just hit J a couple times, hit isolate, and now we have, let's see here, what's failing? Oh, this guy's failing. All right, so maybe we'll give it a few more elements to work on. Click rebuild and rebuild. Go and bring our whole model back. Go back to our view, and now we have maybe one failing. So maybe just a quality index calculation. But overall, I don't see any. Let's see here. I don't see any failing elements. Okay. So with that, we should be good to go. So this is our default panel if you want to specifically interrogate any elements. So we could find warpages, aspect ratios, maybe Jacobians, really I'd say like aspect ratios usually. Again, this is our standard panel, so we can click on here and say, how many are failing? 5. Again, this is more of your kind of your input, your control. This doesn't pull from the criteria file. So maybe you want to put 15 in here or something. You can go ahead and change it. Say, oh, none are failing. Change it back to 5. Okay, now some are failing. You can also do like a sign plot if you want to do some color contouring of it, which we kind of already did. With histograms, usually pretty friendly too. If you want to just kind of get a holistic view of the model, go and reset the view. Last but not least, for kind of our model validation, is I included the matrix browser. This again is a core feature, which is super handy if you want to just extract data from the database. So you could extract data from the hypermesh database, query it, put it into a table, and kind of just keep track of it. Also, we could query hyperview data if you have some results data, and you can basically query elements, query results for those elements. Yeah, there's a lot of different features I highly recommend if you want to go to the kind of the next level of model, I guess, interrogation and review of entity values. You could make a whole table of just your material, Young's modulus and density and so forth, save it to an Excel spreadsheet, modify it, reload it, update the database. So again, I definitely refer you to the YouTube videos, our channel, our community, and so forth. So with that, it's the conclusion of this video. Again, I hope you found it helpful. Please leave us feedback on our Altair community forums.